When my brother was 19 years old, he passed away suddenly, and that was really devastating for me. I was really, really angry at God because I felt like he let me down. That led me sort of on this path of slowly drifting away from God, and every sense that you can. I still would attend church, but it was just out of duty. And then I think I felt this huge hole. I ended up meeting someone. He had his own darkness in his life, and he came along when I was most vulnerable. We had a very quick courting period, and we ended up getting married. And then I ended up getting pregnant. And then he became very abusive very quickly. I knew that I had made a mistake, and I knew that I hadn't really gone to God, and all of the red flags were there. I felt a lot of shame because I had just recently gotten married, and I thought, I don't want to admit this to anyone that I made such a big mistake. There was many different episodes of violence, but mostly it was daily emotional and verbal abuse. And I always would ask God, I don't think this is what you meant for my life. I don't think you wanted me to feel like my life is meant to be like a living hell. And I said, God, you need to give me the strength because I need to get out of this situation, and you need to just allow that moment of clarity to happen. And it did happen. So I took my daughter and I went to go stay with my parents. Shortly after that, he became much more violent, much more dangerous. He would follow me everywhere, stalk me, show up at places he wasn't supposed to show up, and the police had to get involved. He did end up going to jail, and then he moved away. And so that was good. I was safe. But I think emotionally I wasn't. I was still far away from God. I was like, when I needed God, I went to God. And then when things kind of calmed down, I thought I could do it again on my own. I was just so broken from that relationship. It really devastated me on such an emotional level that I think I needed a lot of validation. And I thought that I should go find it with different relationships. I did that, and that didn't fill that emptiness. If anything, it made it feel worse. I felt like I was repeating the same patterns, again, making these relationships my idol. Someone mentioned to me about going to Village. Pastor Mark was doing his series on relationship. It was the Till Death Do Us Part series, and that particular sermon was about being single, about how that was okay, and trusting God through that time. And I really felt like I didn't know anything about Village. I didn't know anything about Pastor Mark, and it spoke right into my heart. And I remember just feeling stunned afterwards. I felt like God was trying to say something to me, and he said, it's time to come home. And then I heard it again and again and again. And about maybe the seventh time, I just broke down and I said, okay, God, I think I know what you mean. And yes, I will. I'm going to come back home. And so after that, everything changed. Even though I grew up as a Christian, I always went to church. I didn't have a prayer life. I didn't read my Bible very often. I only went to God when I really needed him. I knew that had to change. And so every day I was like, I'm going to get up, and the first part of every day is going to be you, God. And so I just sat on this couch and I prayed a lot and cried a lot and journaled a lot. Eventually I found so much healing through that. And it was just as simple as me just saying, okay, God, I surrender to you. I've returned home, and just saying yes to him. And it's just been incredible. My whole life has changed now, where he becomes the main focus. I feel peace. And I think that's something that I always was missing before. I always felt like everything was chaotic, dark, unknown, fearful. And then returning to him, it felt peaceful. It's just night and day to where my life was before and where it is now. I'm forgiven for all of the things that I've done in my life and all the mistakes that I've made. I want to spend the rest of my life just serving him and giving back in whatever way he asks of me.